Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight is absolutely sensational. Cash for bail tips, 200 crores paid by a businessman's wife to a Tihar conman. We now have the audio conversations where the conman pretends to be the Home Secretary and the Law Secretary. The Tihar conman manages to make calls to Shavinder Singh, who is currently in Tihar jail, and his wife. He threatens their children. These tapes have jailed ex-Fortis promoter Shavinder Singh's wife Aditi on tape. She pays 200 crores to this man. What India needs to do now? IMF's Gita Gopinath to NDTV. She says India must vaccinate on a war footing. Also, inflation is key. The BJP has decided to back the junior Home Minister Ajay Teni, whose son is accused of murder. No need to sack him, says sources. Parliament disrupted again as the opposition demands that he sacked. Rahul Gandhi's remark is expunged. India marks 50 years of the Bangladesh victory, but the Congress says the architect of the victory, then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, is completely left out in any mention in the celebrations. Lakhs bid to win a Sarpanch election. 44 lakhs is the winning bid. A shocking auction for the Sarpanch post in a Madhya Pradesh village. My daughter is alive. Jail mother Indrani Mukerjea's claim. Remember, Indrani is accused of murdering Sheena Bora. Indrani writes to the CBI director saying that her daughter Sheena has been seen in Kashmir and the CBI must investigate. She says the claim is based on another woman prisoner who told her this. The BCI chief, Saurav Ganguly, says will deal with the issues raised at the Virat press conference appropriately. The team leaves to South Africa as Omicron rages there, new COVID protocols in place. Our big NDTV exclusive, the cash for bail tapes. How did a con man manage to convince a tycoon's family? The tycoon Shavinder Singh is currently in Tihar jail. How did they manage to convince his wife Aditi Singh to pay 200 crores to a con man who is also in Tihar jail? He apparently impersonated both the Home Secretary and the Law Secretary in calls to Aditi Singh. In fact, in one of the calls, even Shavinder Singh joins the conversation. Shavinder is also in Tihar jail. Currently, the matter of Shavinder and Malvinder Singh's bail is still being heard.
In this recording dated July, made by Arundhati Singh, whose sister Aditi is married to Shavinder Singh, Sukesh Chandrashekhar calls her pretending to be someone called Abhinav, a junior of India's Law Secretary Anup Kumar, pressurizing her to organize more money quickly ahead of a Supreme Court hearing on bail.
Hi pal, good morning.
Sister, I asked you for something, you cannot say no.
Have I ever said no to you, brother? We've always done whatever you've asked for.
Okay.
That also in record time.
Understand. Yes. My dear sister, listen to me.
Yes, tell me,
Before
my dear
5,
brother.
I need at least minimum of something above 50, 75, something like that. Not exact 50, it should be above 50. Definitely 70, 75, something like that. Or if you're giving one, nothing like it.
In another recording dated July, Sukesh Chandrashekhar as Abhinav calls Aditi Singh, wife of Shavinder Singh, where the two argue over money, where Aditi refers to having donated to party funds but without getting any results.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you really care? You really think people do care about who is promise breaker or not? Because let me tell you something. We are the one who are following up with you and coming to you again and again. Not just because you are going to organize some 5 crore, 10 crore or 20 crore and give. Let me tell you something. Okay.
But Abhinav, it's been a 1 year of building a relationship.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If we want to do that, we can just snap out of things. Please understand.
And why would
We are
you
not
do
that
that?
kind of people. No, we can. Because the way of your
course.
behaviors, we can.
But what is my behavior?
Hey, yeah. I'm just telling you, there's no point of arguing right now. So the only thing I'm saying to you is that we are people with ethics. We are people who care about your well-being. So that is the reason I'm telling you again and again, you will be able to pay because we know the truth.
In this third excerpt, Sukesh calls Aditi Singh pretending to be Union Home Secretary Ajay Kumar Balla, claiming that the Home Minister is following the case, except of course he is not, since this is not the real Home Secretary.
Hello, Aditi ji.
Ji speaking.
Yes, good afternoon. Ajay Kumar Balla this side, Home Secretary of India. Is this a good time? I can talk to you?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir, of course. It's a privilege to talk to you, sir. Ji, sir, I understand. Sir, may I make a small request? I'm sorry, I've been requesting for a meeting, and I would really like to come and meet if that is at all possible at any point of time. I would be most grateful for that.
I would like to mention to you that I'm sure you have been told even in before that there is certain right time for things to be done. So Mr. Anup will definitely tell you. I will also take this request to the Honorable Home Minister, and I will tell Amit Shah ji your request, but it will be honored as time to come.
Yes, I would be grateful. I would be grateful
on that regard.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I understand.
But you need to understand,
Yes,
you are being handled and taken care by the topmost office of this country. That is why we all are calling you and we all are being associated with you. But we would want you to go by our instructions, as we are not okay in accepting advices and suggestions from your end.
Ji, sir. Ji, I'm sorry if I don't want to be out of line. Ji, sir. Ji, sir.
We have reached out to Delhi Police and Aditi Singh for a response, and we are yet to get their response.
But remember, these tapes have actually been given by the Enforcement Directorate as part of their charge sheet in court. So this is part of the evidence. Also, what's more shocking is that in one of these calls, Shivinder Singh, who is currently in jail in Tihar, also joins the call on conference.
So the call, I've been wanting to speak with you in the hospital. I was very concerned for the last few months because I had no clue what's going on. I had only gotten to speak to you once a time ago, and I was very keen to speak to you, and I'm very concerned of what was happening with Aditi and the family, and especially the impact to the boys. So I'm really glad that we got to speak today. I know the line is very bad, but I just want to say I really appreciate your help.
Mr. Singh, hello. Tell him that he doesn't need to worry about his
family.
Tell him that he needs to worry. He need not worry about the family and about you or about himself. Tell him that they are all the responsibility of us. We are taking full responsibility. We as the government are taking full responsibility, and we are moving forward to start a new beginning also along him. Please tell him that.
That please don't worry about the family or me or yourself. We are the government's responsibility, and that we are looking forward to starting a new beginning with us. So please don't worry.
Just
tell him that he is
about going to ED, and I would really request if at least you can get to meet once, if I cannot, to give you physical comfort, because of face-to-face speaking really helps a lot. So if it's at all possible, a short meeting also for you, and then would really be helpful. Please pass on that message.
Sir, this is sir, he's requesting for a meeting. He's saying even if it's a short meeting, it would really give him comfort.
meeting. He wants to meet.
Sir, he's saying that since he can't meet, he's requesting for a short meeting, a short physical meeting with me. He's requesting you to have a meeting with me just to give him comfort.
Because
He's been very concerned about
You tell him not to be worried. Tell him to let us do our job. We know what we are doing. Tell him to be relaxed. Tell him to now look forward to come out rather than all these kind of confusions that he's having. Tell him that he can come and directly meet. and we can have a conversation on the future that we have to take forward. You tell him that in the current scenario with everything happening, how does he feel it is appropriate to have a meeting? Please ask him that question.
So just imagine, that's a man pretending to be India's law secretary, actually with a person who's currently in Tihar jail, Shivinder Singh, speaking to him as well. The Tycoon's family claims that they paid 200 crores to this con man to get bail. Currently, of course, the bail hearings is still on, first in the Supreme Court, then in the High Court, and the Enforcement Directorate has filed these tapes in court as well. So really an absolutely shocking revelation there. A full half-hour episode on this at 8:30 tonight. But let's just look quickly at the other news. Well, IMF's chief economist Gita Gopinath is in India. She met the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister and Finance Ministry officials today as well. Speaking to NDTV, she had 3 major recommendations for India, including vaccinate on a war footing. This is a time when India's vaccinations are actually falling. Even though there's excess stock, people just aren't getting vaccinated fast enough. You had 3 things to say. You met the Prime Minister already, but you had 3 things to tell the Indian government right now on how to get on track now with another COVID potential crisis booming. Luckily, our cases are down right now, but who knows what would they be?
Well, I think first, which again is true for all countries, is to make sure that you are doing your vaccinations on a war footing. You know, India is at about, in terms of the share of the total population, it's about 37% of the population that's fully vaccinated. Of course, that number in terms of first dose is much higher, closer to 60%. But what we see around the world is that when vaccine cases come down, pressure comes off, people, don't think about getting vaccinated. So getting over vaccine hesitancy and just on a war footing, pushing through much higher rates of vaccination, I think is essential. It's not going to solve you're still going to get infections. You're seeing that in the UK even with higher levels of vaccination rates. But everything points to the fact that even with Omicron, if you are vaccinated, you get some protection against severe disease and death. And that's what we should be targeting. So I think that's one big area.
Watch that full interview at 9:30. Meanwhile, what's happening in Parliament? Well, complete disruptions. The opposition insisted that controversial junior minister for Home, Ajay Mishra Teni, must be sacked after UP copper special investigation team said that there was a conspiracy behind the killings of farmers in Uttar Pradesh. In fact, Rahul Gandhi accused the minister. His remarks were later expunged. Sources tell NDTV that senior BJP ministers have decided that the minister will not be sacked, saying that he can't be blamed for what his son did.
Protests from Delhi to Lucknow amid growing demands for the resignation of India's Deputy Home Minister Ajay Mishra Teni. 24 hours after he was filmed in UP's Lakhimpur, lunging at journalists and abusing them. When asked about his murder-accused son in jail for the killing of farmers in October. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi called for the minister's role in the Lakhimpur killings to be probed.
प्रश्न पे बोले आप पहले प्रश्न नंबर बोले सरकार से निकाल देना चाहिए ये
Several opposition MPs voiced similar demands.
लेकिन जो SIT ने रिपोर्ट दी है कोर्ट में उसके आधार पर अजय मिश्रा टेनी जी को इस्तीफा दे ही देना चाहिए.
As protests were held inside and outside Parliament, Mr. Mishra attended various meetings in North Block, which is not even a kilometre away. And if sources are to be believed, he would be touring North East this weekend on an official tour.
The unapologetic minister even live-streamed this meeting, where he spoke, ironically, about the need for foolproof prosecution.
तो ऐसे फोटोग्राफ, वीडियोग्राफ, ऐसे हमारे फॉरेंसिक एविडेंस, इन सब चीजों की ज्यादा से ज्यादा कलेक्शन हो तो निश्चित रूप से जो हमारी अदालत की जो सफलता है उस पर उसका प्रभाव पड़ेगा.
BJP sources have told NDTV that sacking Minister Ajay Mishra at this point of time will serve no purpose. In fact, it will give more ammunition to the opposition parties.
हम भी चाहते हैं उनसे अच्छा सजेशन चाहते हैं, कंस्ट्रक्टिव सजेशन चाहते हैं.
But many, including farmer leader Rakesh Tikait, who helped broker peace after the Lakhimpur farmer killings, said they were not convinced with the government's argument.
भाई उन लोग की हिम्मत नहीं है ना कि जो पत्रकार क्वेश्चन करे उसका जवाब दे सके। हमने कहा और पूरा देश कह रहा है कि 120 का मुलजिम है, उसका इस्तीफा लो।
Farmers also highlight this video of Ajay Mishra Teni days ahead of the Lakhimpur incident, where he can be seen and heard openly threatening farmers. They now say if the investigation is into a conspiracy, the minister must be questioned too. With an aggressive opposition and a defiant BJP, the stalemate over Ajay Mishra, the minister, seems all set to continue. With Akhilesh Sharma, Vineet Verma and Neeta Sharma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Well, in other news, today India marks 50 years of our Bangladesh victory, a victory at a time when Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister and Army Chief was General Manik Shaw. So today you had the Prime Minister laying wreaths in memory of that victory, the President also in Bangladesh to mark this day. But guess who was not mentioned anywhere? In fact, virtually blacked out is the fact of Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister who actually gave the go-ahead, took the decision to go ahead with this war to liberate Bangladesh, not mentioned anywhere by the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, in any Ministry of Defence release or in Parliament as well. This pointed out by the Congress, by Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi, saying how can you obliterate her legacy?
बांग्लादेश लड़ाई का फंक्शन हुआ है दिल्ली में, उसमें इंदिरा गांधी का नाम तक नहीं है। जिस महिला ने 32 गोली खाई, इस देश के लिए 32 गोली खाई, उनका नाम तक नहीं है।
जो भारत पाक युद्ध था 1971 का, उसमें जो जीत हुई उसका उल्लेख किया भारतीय सेनाओं का, और उस समय जिन्होंने भी नेतृत्व किया उन सबका उल्लेख किया है, लोकसभा राज्यसभा दोनों में किया है। मेरे ख्याल में राहुल गांधी जी को ये लोकसभा राज्यसभा की कार्रवाई को देख लेना चाहिए।
Amazingly petty politics there, not to mention Indira Gandhi. But let's just look once again at the highlights of that fantastic victory, the creation of Bangladesh, the liberation of Bangladesh in a series of documentaries NDTV had done. Here are the highlights.
At 4 p.m. on the 16th of December 1971, Lieutenant General A.A.K. Niazi signed the instrument of surrender and placed himself and his troops under the command of Lieutenant General J.S. Arora.
It was the Indian Army's finest hour, the 16th of December 1971, 50 years ago.
The Dhaka garrison formally laid down their arms.
As Prime Minister, you are not only the leader of the great people of India, you are a leader of the people of Bangladesh.
In 12 days, Indian armed forces had waged what observers then saw as the most decisive liberation campaign in military history. 75 million won their independence in one lightning strike. 93,000 Pakistani soldiers were taken prisoner of war. This is the man who took India to that war, General Sam Manekshaw, later India's first Field Marshal.
Mrs. Gandhi was very good about that. She said, you are in charge, Sam, as long as you get me what I want.
Despite the initial reverses, the Pakistani military leadership in East Pakistan remained defiant till the end.
But a lot of men might die. The price of freedom. But what freedom? Not yours.
It's mine, yes, my country, Pakistan.
Brave words, but the writing was on the wall. East Pakistan collapsed in less than 2 weeks after the war began, being replaced by the vibrant nation the world knows as Bangladesh. Vishnu Shob for NDTV.
What a proud day for India and Bangladesh today. Meanwhile, moving to other news, this is really a shocking story. It's probably a first where a sarpanch has been elected by bidding for the post. The winning bidder, the winning sarpanch, paid 44 lakhs. The big question, if he's paying 44 lakhs, what does he actually expect to gain as a sarpanch in return? Here's the story from a Madhya Pradesh village, Our Democracy for Sale.
This is an auction, not the kind you see to sell fancy products or to buy IPL players, but to select who the next sarpanch is going to be. Yes, you heard it right. Villagers in Madhya Pradesh practicing democracy by auction. This is inside a temple in Ashoknagar district. The open auction starts with rupees 21 lakh, reaches 43 lakh rupees. Finally, the big win. Saubhag Singh Yadav unanimously chosen the Sarpanch for 44 lakh rupees, defeating 4 other contenders for the post.
मंदिर पे चुनाव रखा गया है कि जो भी है राशि मंदिर मिलेगी तो विकास होगा, सनातन धर्म का आगे ही बढ़ेगा जो भी है, क्योंकि पाप में पैसा नहीं जा रहा, मंदिर ही जा रहा है पैसा, और वैसे पाप में जाएगा, दारू में मांस में जाएगा, अत्याचार होगा दुनिया के, तो अत्याचार से बचाने के लिए ग्राम भटोली के लिए ये प्रस्ताव रखा गया है.
The audition-based model works with the temple at the helm. Probable candidates enter into an open bid. Candidates bid for their candidature. The one with the highest bid will get a chance to contest the Sarpanch election unopposed. The audition money stays with the local village to be used for the development work in the area. Local Election Commission officials are shocked at this latest upgrade to democracy and now have sought a report from district officials.
हमने जिला निर्वाचन अधिकारी से प्रतिवेदन चाहा है, वो देखें कि वहाँ कोई आदर्श आचार संहिता का उल्लंघन तो नहीं हुआ है. जो रिपोर्ट आएगी तदनुसार फिर आगे कार्रवाई की.
The voting for Madhya Pradesh Panchayat elections will be held in 3 phases between January to Feb, but the Congress has filed a petition alleging Shivraj Singh Chauhan government has violated the rotation reservation norms. In Bhopal with camera person Rizwan Khan and Swadesh Anurag for NDTV.
Well, a quick look at other unbelievable news. My daughter is alive, claims Indrani Mukerjea, the mother who's actually in jail on charges of murdering her daughter Sheena Bora. She wrote a letter to the CBI director saying, my daughter Sheena is alive, you must investigate. I met a prisoner in jail who said that she met Sheena in Kashmir. So, Indrani Mukerjea, after 3 years in jail, now wants the CBI to go and look for Sheena Bora in Kashmir. There's been no response from the CBI yet. Meanwhile, a quick look on the sports news. Well, India's South Africa team has left for South Africa with Virat Kohli at the helm, and of course a tough new protocol because of rising case of Omicron there. So there are now new bubble norms for the tour. Positive cases within the bubble will not be allowed to move out. They can isolate in a hotel room if clinically stable. Also, close contacts can continue to train. However, only 2,000 vaccinated spectators will be allowed in the stadium. But of course, besides the focus on the tour, the focus is also on what Test captain Virat Kohli said yesterday about how he was informed that he was dropped as captain and what the response was to when he said he wanted to step down as T20 captain. Saurav Ganguly, the BCCI chief, who Virat Kohli's comments basically contradict, has said that he has no comments on this, but the matter will be dealt with appropriately.
No statements.
या कोई press conference किया जाएगा?
No statements.
Sir, you have been the investment for the team.
As I said, we'll deal with it. Leave it to BCCI.